What is mgtow? MGTOW is an acronym that stands for Men Going Their Own Way. What is mgtow? I'm John. I'm the host of this channel. mgtow is freedom. Right? And you can come on here and watch any number of videos of mine. You can go to other channels and watch theirs. And the subject matter can vary from a rant to a discussion about what is going on with men. It could be a legal discussion. It can be about the nature of relationships themselves. It can revolve around the way a woman thinks, how that affects men, etc. But that's not what mgtow is. What is mgtow? mgtow is men going their own way. And I want to start this by saying a lot of times we can't or don't define ourselves. What I mean by that is someone could look at me and go, that's what mgtow is. Someone could look at another guy who produces mgtow videos and say, that's what mgtow is, right? And identify it or label it. I think a really good way to define what mgtow is to look at the enemy. And you'll find out who its opposition is that way. So if you wanted to find out what an American was, you looked at a Nazi in World War II and said it must be the opposite of that because they're enemies and they're trying to kill each other. So when you look at a man today, you define him by what is opposing him. Feminism wants to destroy men. Feminine wants to destroy the family. Feminine or feminists want to take away our rights or give feminists, women, special rights. And like an ideology, the enemy of men is defined by who opposes him. So who opposes the mgtow man? Women do. Women feminists and also male feminists. Okay, so you look at a man today and you go, who is he? Well, what does his enemy stand for? And you're going to find out that he's the opposite or close to the opposite of that. The feminist, right, is attacking the man because she wants more money. The feminist is attacking the man because she wants to take his rights away, or she's trying to get special rights for herself, special privileges. So if you really want to find out what is mgtow, study the enemy. Right now, is the mgtow movement just right here in California? Okay. Is mgtow in just the United States of America? How about just the North American continent? How about just the common law Anglo world? No, mgtow is everywhere, right? I've got my brothers in Scandinavia, in Germany, right? We've got North America, Canada, United States of America, Australia, and other parts of the world that can't probably communicate with me, understand me, so they don't come to me and I don't see them on the map when I look at demographics. Look at where the men are who are watching us, their ages, right? How many? I just know that I get as strong a response out of Scandinavians and Germans as I do out of the English-speaking world. So, like the enemy in World War II, you can see how widespread the area of conflict is based on where the battles are being fought. mgtow is fighting a worldwide enemy. So feminism, which attacks men, is worldwide because men around the world are joining mgtow. Now, another way to decide or define a man, find out where he stands, what he's up against, is to look at his enemies, to count the enemies and their allies, and see where we're at. So when we talk about feminism being the enemy of men and mgtow not going after and attacking feminism in court or by throwing protests. We don't do that at this point. What are we doing? We're just trying to alert men to what they're up against, who is coming after them, and to tell them this is your opportunity to take individual action, to insulate and shield yourself from feminism and its proponents and its allies. That's what mgtow is, right? This is about what is mgtow. It's men going their own way. And what does that mean? So when we talk about the foot soldiers of an ideology, right? We can't battle in World War II Nazism itself. You have to battle its proponents, the soldiers of Nazism, right? So when you look at feminism, who are its proponents? Well, its leadership hides behind walls in academia, but it sends its foot soldiers out to fuck with us. You know, it used to be a small percentage of women. And over the last 150, yes, right, 150 years and more of feminist ideology, it is not just a mere majority. It is not a super majority, meaning 66 or 75%. Every single woman on this planet has been exposed to feminism and has, in some way, adopted the tenets, the ideology of feminism. Even those women out there who will profess to being unicorns, that is the most rare and unique of the species, that loves men and puts up with them, they still say with their mouth feminist phrases. They still think in their head feminist thought. Through no fault of their own. Through no fault of their own, because of the indoctrination, the bombardment through magazine, television, internet, movies, the entire media spectrum, including news reporting, where you'll hear a newswoman say, and that guy, he's a misogynist, what do you think of that? And she holds the microphone out, right? She's feeding a leading question to someone so that they approach the subject matter from a feminist perspective and attack the man. It happens everywhere. That is who opposes mgtow, is every woman. And I got to tell you, if I was on the battlefield as a United States Marine and I saw 20 people running at me and I was told one of them is not your enemy, and I'd say they all look the same, they all dress the same, they're all saying the same words, how the fuck do I know which one is not a feminist? It's safest for me to assume they all are and stop them all. Not the battlefield stop, but in my life, as in don't let them get close to me. Right? So how else do you identify mgtow, or rather what we're facing? There are men, we call them white knights. White knights oppose mgtow. They oppose masculinity, because mgtow is men going their own way. That is denying feminist ideology, feminist concepts, and saying, I'm a man. I take responsibility for myself because no one hands money to me the way women get money handed to them. Nobody looks out for me. Only I look out for me. Only I give a fuck about me. And it starts with me, mgtow, man. So I make my own decisions about myself. What is best for me, not only in my stomach, but in my head, in my heart, in my whole life. And it's a very isolated me. Right? So me is facing enemies everywhere. All the women, the men who cry and want to be accepted by the feminist element of, the female element of feminism. They want to be accepted. So they don't go their own way. They go the way of the feminist, these men do. And they're simpletons, and they're cuckolded, and they're white knights. They think they're good. There's some outright sellouts. There are men who take advantage of these idiotic, near retarded women who don't spout anything, who don't think thoughts that aren't on their face illogical and lack reasoning, forethought, or the ability to see down the road consequences of what they do. So as MGTOW, my world is full of the enemy. Now, if I choose to be like everyone else, I haven't joined the winning side. All I've done is surrender my life. When I talk about my life and surrendering, I don't mean, well, I still get to breathe air and eat food and maybe have some sex, maybe keep some of my money, but I've surrendered the individual known as John. The man known as John dies if he's not MGTOW. If I'm not going my own way, I'm someone else's bitch. And that is how MGTOW men look at themselves. Not a bitch. Right? So what else? How else do we define MGTOW? Men going their own way. We are defined by our enemies, not only individuals, but the state itself. Not only the fourth estate, meaning the media, but the court system. That's right. If you're married and you go to court, you will die. You will be mercilessly pummeled. And sometimes you get a good judge and sometimes you don't. And I don't know of any good social workers. They are all anti-man. The best I could do with my intellect in a very conservative county was get 50-50. Because women are liars, they're fucking sneaks, they're shitty, and all they want to do is punish men. So I feel incredibly terrible for men who have to face not only feminism as an ideology, not only women who have adopted that, not only men who have sold out to it, but the juggernaut of government itself is against MGTOW. That is owning yourself, being your own man, going your own way. And it's not just the judicial system. It's not. It's also the legislature. Those rule makers. They are a bunch of cucks themselves. Oh, they're not simpletons. They're pretty smart. They got elected. They figured out how to dope the system. They're using the system, and they're fucking you as men. You know, what is MGTOW?